Hey guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis Media once again. Welcome back to another movie review, aka After I Saw, and this time it is going to be on the new Hellboy movie, Hellboy. And this is a reboot. Instead of this starring Ron Perlman, it's starring David Harbour, and instead of Guillermo del Toro directing this one, it's directed by Neil Marshall. And instead of it being PG-13, they decided to go with the hard R rating and just let Hellboy do whatever the hell he wants. And so yeah, you know the story of Hellboy. It's basically a reboot of the original Guillermo del Toro movies, and Hellboy is a seemingly a good guy, and basically he goes and has to stop this evil witch. Forgot what her name was, but whatever. Her head was detached, and they have to, and these bad guys reattached her body or whatever to bring her back to life, and Hellboy has to stop her along with other characters along the way, which really weren't really interesting that much. So before I heard this was rated R, I wasn't looking forward to this. The trailer looked ridiculous. It looked cheesy. It looked like a middle finger to fans of the Hellboy series. And but when I heard it was going to be rated R, I had a little bit of hope. And it's directed by Neil Marshall, who directed the fantastic horror film The Descent. So I was really curious. Maybe this might not be so bad after all. Clearly, I was wrong. I hated this movie. I mean, yes, it is rated R for a good reason. There's a lot of violence and gory images that might make you spit out your popcorn, like big chunks of it, if you look at it. And but for the most part, it doesn't look very good at the slightest. A lot of it is CGI. In fact, I don't think they used any sort of practical effects other than the makeup effects for Hellboy himself. Now look, I didn't flat out hate everything about this movie. David Harbour was good as Hellboy, believe it or not. And that's something that a lot of people were worried about. I think, well, David Harbour's no Ron Perlman. He's fine in this movie. I think for the most part, he gets the character. The personality for him is different than in the original two films, but in this one, he's fine. He's probably the most interesting thing about this entire movie. Other than that, it's recycled story, it's characters that everybody else in this movie just felt dull and boring. Even their acting really wasn't interesting either. I mean, well, granted, I mean, they weren't flat out awful in the movie. The visual effects looked absolutely mediocre at best. Like, instead of this feels more like a movie just to show that Hellboy can be extremely violent. Like, here's some violence here and there, blood, everything. Ugh. I mean, hey, that at least that kept the movie entertaining for the most part. I mean, the effects aren't really laughably bad. They're just bad. And that's my cat meowing over there. And what else? It's 2 hours long, which I can say is a decent amount of time for the movie. But one thing I really did not like was the writing. The writing and the dialogue just did not fit the movie in the slightest. It felt pretty weak, and all in all, it's just not very well edited. Like the music choices they had, like they had heavy metal and stuff because it's Hellboy, and he goes to hell during a part of the movie, except it's a flashback sort of, or flash forward. I know that's kind of a spoiler, but does it really matter? I mean, not a lot of people are seeing this movie. Hell, even that new comedy film Little made more money than this movie. Like when I was at my job, I felt like there was more tickets for Little that I had to rip instead of Hellboy. I had to rip like, I don't know, 5 for Hellboy, so maybe 10. Maybe a little. Well, I didn't rip every single ticket there. I mean, but yeah, in case you guys don't know, I do work at Regal now, so I made a video of that. One of my chat Matt videos. But anyways, Other than the fact that it's extremely violent and there's cussing in it, does that make it a good movie? No, not really. I mean, come on. Like, Live Free or Die Hard was PG-13, and that movie was actually really good. And when they made another Die Hard film and they made it back to rated R, yeah, it did not work out. But then again, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome was PG-13. That movie was okay, but they did Mad Max Fury Road, and hell, that movie was awesome. But you know, I mean, yes, Logan was rated R, and that was part of the X-Men franchise, which all of them were PG-13. And Logan was a big hit, and that movie was amazing. And Deadpool in X-Men Origins Wolverine, that was PG-13, and everybody hated that. And he was in Deadpool, of course, and both of his movies were fantastic. Well, I liked the first movie a little bit more. The second movie was also pretty good. But I'm just saying here, this reboot feels unnecessary. It's just filler. It's just, I mean, the action sequences, there were some that worked and some that were just in there just to entertain you. And that's basically what it is. It's a movie that where Hellboy just slashes a lot of bad guys, and there's a lot of blood and gore popping out, and that's basically the main thing you're going to get. You're not really going to get a good story. You're not really going to get that many interesting characters. You're not really going to get that many good special effects that don't look fake at all, and just CGI just doesn't really work well. Yeah, I should have just accepted that this movie was probably going to suck, even though before it was R-rated. So, yeah, overall, this movie, it's pretty forgettable. It was just completely unnecessary. It just didn't have that much going for it other than David Harbour doing an okay job and some okay action sequences, but some weak characters, a weak story, a weak premise, weak special effects. And the fact that it's also poorly edited and poorly written, it's not a movie to revisit anytime soon. Ooh, it's been, what was the last movie that I gave a negative score to? I think that might have been Nutcracker, but there were movies that I saw that were just video and I never got to review them. And I've given a lot of movies this rating, but I'm just gonna do it again. Hellboy gets a 1.5 out of 5. So I'll just watch the original two Hellboy movies, even though they're PG-13. That doesn't matter. They're still entertaining without the gore. I mean, yeah, I know I've been stuttering a lot. I mean, it's super late, and honestly, I didn't really feel like making this video. But I did because I saw the movie, and I wanted to tell you guys what my thoughts were. Uh, man. It's a shame because it could have been great. Because the fact that it was rated R, maybe they could do something better with the character, maybe even bigger, but nope. Nope. That's a shame. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and of course, I'm gonna be having more videos soon. I don't, I know the Curse of La Leona is coming out this weekend. Although I've got a lot of work to do, then I'll be working a lot, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to have time to review it. But I will watch it. I promise, and I'll review it for you guys. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Word out.